Thank you, Alayna, for joining me here on Flyer Overtime. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. What got you into playing volleyball?
Yeah, so I started playing volleyball in the 7th grade. I was not a very athletic person. I played softball up until then. And yeah, volleyball I just kind of fell in love with once I started playing club volleyball and getting involved with, I just loved like the team aspect and like the relationship part. So that's how I started playing.
You being from Iowa, what made you choose to play volleyball here at the University of Dayton?
When I was being recruited, I looked at a lot of different schools, but Dayton just felt like home. Like, I know it's such a cliche and everyone's like, oh, the community here, but like, I really felt that in my first visit. And like the culture and the atmosphere that the team had, the program had. I loved the coaching staff and like the opportunity to be a student athlete versus just an athlete. Because I think sometimes at the bigger schools, that's like all that consumes you and your identity. And I think at Dayton, you get to be like a full person, which I really loved.
What does a typical practice as well as a game day look like for you?
So typical game day, wake up, get Starbucks is always the ritual. We show up for our games, probably like, we usually have like a pretty intense schedule of like warm-ups, scout film, all that stuff. So that's pretty intense, but practice days are, normally we'll have lifts at 6 a.m. We'll usually have a 3-hour practice block during our day. Classes are mixed in between that. So yeah, it's busy, but it's fun.
And then on game days, do you have any like rituals?
Do I have any rituals? Oh, I started doing this thing my senior year during the national anthem. I'll like wiggle my toes to like get grounded and like know where my feet are and like, all right, we're playing a game today. Like, this is exciting. That's like, I guess my one ritual that I have, which is kind of weird.
Being a senior on the team, how have you shown your leadership towards your teammates on and off the court?
I think my leadership, I was never someone who was going to like yell at someone on the court. That's just not in my personality. So I just tried to lead by like positivity and like keeping things light at practice. Cause I think so many times we forget it's a game and like we're here because we love to play and it turns into a job sometimes. And so I think my leadership shone more in just being the goofy, like weird teammate who just wants to smile and have fun. So that's kind of my leadership style.
Throughout your athletic career, you've earned numerous accolades from being on the all-rookie team to honor roll to all-conference first team. Mm-hmm. How has the volleyball team here at UD shaped who you are?
I mean, it's shaped me in ways I can't even describe just because of, like I said, the culture here. I've been fortunate to be a part of this team that is like willing to go and battle for each other day in and day out. Like I said, the relationship piece of this team is like so crucial and a big reason why we've been so successful. I can't say that we're as physical, like we're a physical team, especially in our conference, but like when we match up against those Power 4 teams, we're not the most physically gifted team there, but I think like our love and camaraderie for each other is what shows out, and that's what people love to watch. And so I think that like the relationship that I have created on the team is what has really shaped me, and that's what I'll take away from this.
Well, tell me what the culture of the team was like throughout your time here at UD.
Yeah, we're just a very hardworking group of girls. I would say that we have a lot of like we're a very player-led team, counting on upperclassmen, but even like underclassmen have that same responsibility of like, if an upperclassman's not holding their end of the deal, like we all have the respect to like call each other out, and have that accountability. We have like a 24-hour rule on our team where like, if you have a problem with someone or didn't like the way something was said, like address it in 24 hours or get over it, essentially, because we just don't want to have the drama on our team. And I think that culture allows for us to just focus on volleyball and not focus on other things. Like volleyball is like our escape almost.
Unfortunately, you guys didn't manage to win the title this season, but you did big things in the NCAA tournament, winning big in Baylor, but coming up short against Nebraska. Tell me that experience.
So I'll tell you that from the beginning of the season, I thought when I found out that we were hosting, I was like, there's no way we don't win the A10 tournament. We had a great season last year. We have a lot of seniors coming back. This is a really talented group. And we wanted to make the Sweet 16. That was our goal. And winning the A10 championship was just a part of that. And so when we lost that day, I think all of us were shell-shocked. Like, what just happened? How did we let that happen? And that's a lot of credit to Loyola as well. They played lights out, the best they've ever played against us. So that's not to discredit them at all, but we were also not on our game that day. But I do think that like that loss taught us so much. And I don't think that we would have made the Sweet 16 had it not been for that, because I think we were also in a place in the season where we were getting so content with where we were, like content with our talent, content that we were doing good things. But I think, yeah, that kind of put into reality that like nothing's given. Like we had to get an at-large bid to the tournament. It wasn't given to us. We had to like earn that back. And so I think, yeah, just putting that in perspective and that journey through all of that in the tournament was such a cool experience. I kind of hate that my college volleyball ended at Nebraska, but it's okay. It was a really fun game.
Well, Dayton did host the 2024 Volleyball A10 tournament. What was that like to host a volleyball tournament here?
It was so cool. My freshman year was COVID, and we had hosted it that year too. But that was a completely different circumstance because we couldn't have anyone in the seats on the floor. Everyone was up in the bleachers. There were maybe like 100 fans there, and it was all our parents. So it wasn't the same atmosphere that we know Dayton and the Red Scare can bring. And so having the chance to host again 4 years later in my 5th season was so cool and like such a full circle experience for me, because there were like so many fans that showed out that weekend and so much support and love pouring into it. So it was really cool to play on our home court.
During the season, you had the NCAA come and visit. Tell me that experience, what it was like, and to have such a prestigious organization be recognized.
Obviously, the NCAA, like volleyball, is like so crazy cool. Like all of us follow them on Instagram, and like seeing them do all the different tours of campuses, we're like, how cool would it be if they visited our campus? Because like we're biased, but like our place is pretty cool. And so it was awesome that we finally like got that like recognition almost to like get to show the rest of the world and the rest of the volleyball fans in our country like what makes Dayton so special, because we've made the tournament several years that I've been here, and I feel like we're always that team that's like on the bubble of, do people know who we are? Like they're just a mid-major team. Like who cares about Dayton? And so it was really cool to like get to show off like what makes Dayton Dayton and why it is such a special place. As far as the social media stuff goes, really cool. But I'm not like, I love to watch TikToks. I don't make TikToks like the rest of my teammates. So I think they loved that part way more than I did. But yeah, they had a lot of fun with it. And Michaela Chester, who came in and she's the host of all that volleyball show for NCAA, she was super cool and really like was really great at interacting with our team. So it was a lot of fun.
I saw that you own your own merchandise. Tell me about having your own merchandise and having people represent you in your own clothing.
So I think it's a thing that like a lot of girls on our team do it with like an NIL deal, which is cool. I don't think we do it for the money though. Like it is a nice perk, don't get me wrong, but like it is so cool that like my family members are able to wear like my last name on their back and have like my number. Cause I've had the same number since I started playing when I was 12 years old for club. Like I've always been number 17. And so getting to see my family rep gear that has our name on it and the number that I've worn since the beginning is like really cool to see them in the stands and know that I have their support at all times.
What has been the relationship like between you and Coach Tim Horsman?
Yeah.
What has he taught you throughout your time here at UD?
Coach is an awesome guy, and he is definitely someone who will put the pressure on you each and every day in the gym so that when it comes game time, there's nothing you haven't heard and there's nothing that you like are shocked by. Like every conversation I have during a game, I'm like, he's being himself. That's not anything out of the normal. And he is the most competitive person I think I've ever met. Obviously, we have a team full of competitors, and that's what he wants in a team, of course. But he is by far the most competitive man I've ever met. And playing for him has been great. I think we have a really great relationship, and he has a really great way of turning it on in the gym. And then as soon as practice is done, like you can have a conversation with him and it's just like a normal day. Like volleyball stays in Frericks, and then everything outside of that is just life talk and just enjoying each other's company and talking about what's going on with our families and everything like that. So he's great, and I have him to thank for all of this. So yeah.
You are the president for UD's Student Advisory Athlete Advisory Committee. Tell me what that program's all about and the role or roles you
Yeah.
provided for that?
Yeah, so after my freshman year, there was an opening on the volleyball team to get a new rep for SAC. And our senior that year, Bridget, was like, hey, Lainey, I think you'd be a great rep for this. And I was like, sure. Like I wasn't involved in like student government when I was in high school, but I loved being a part of like leadership organizations like that and other extracurriculars. So I was like, this is one more thing I can like add to my plate and feel like I'm a part of the Dayton community, which I really enjoyed. So since my sophomore year, I'd been a part of that group. And it's just so cool to see all these student athletes come together with the same mission of diversity, equity, inclusion, mental health, like community service, all these different like facets of that, and getting us involved in the community, I think is so great. And yeah, like I said, again, the relationships that I've made with those people and being able to walk across campus and say hi to other athletes that I don't practice with every day, but I know they're working just as hard as I am, and having a very similar experience to me has been really cool. And being able to take on more of the leadership role as president my last semester was incredibly rewarding. Crystal Warren is our staff advisor who's in charge of that, and she's an incredible person and a huge role model for me. So, yeah.
Have you been able to balance athletics and academics here at UD?
I think I've been super fortunate in that a lot of my professors are very understanding of the athletics and all that requires, the travel, the practice blocks, all of that, because it is a very demanding thing of your time. So obviously, like the time management skills I've learned through that experience has been great. Yeah, I've just been incredibly lucky. I was a communications and journalism major, so I love this. And like I said, I was just really lucky to have great professors who were willing to accommodate my crazy schedule.
How can the UD volleyball program help incoming freshmen and any transfer students strive of who they want to become?
I think, like I said, we have such a great culture here that it's really easy to just kind of join into what we do and what our mission is, which is winning the tournament every year, making it to the NCAA tournament. Like that's always top of mind, top goal. But I don't think we get there without that culture. And I think so far, all the freshmen that we've had and like transfers that come in really buy into that. And I think that buy-in comes from seeing the buy-in of everyone else. So when you know that everyone else is on the same page, like it's easy to jump in that boat and be there with them. I think we've been lucky with how crazy the transfer portal is that there's not a lot of girls who transfer out of Dayton. I think in my time here, there's maybe been 2 or 3. And I think that's like a really good ratio of transfers coming in versus people leaving. Like people want to stay at Dayton. I was lucky. I committed here when I was a sophomore in high school. And I played for 5 seasons here. Like I loved it and I bought into that culture. And even though it was hard, like it's hard work. But like we've talked about, like the person that it's made me and how comfortable I feel having these conversations about Dayton is something I just love.
Now, Lexi Almodovar really impacted the volleyball program here, and she's now on to doing great things.
Yeah.
What was her impact on the team?
I can share a little bit on the team, but I'll share about her impact on me first. So Lexi and I came in the same class, and we were best friends from the get-go. There were 4 of us in our initial class. One had to medically retire, another transferred in, so it ended up being 4 to 5 throughout my time here of our class. And Lexi is just such a bubbly personality and like has that same competitive fire that Coach does that like brings people in and like you want to fight for her because you know every day she's going to go out there and she's going to bust her ass and she's going to be a ball of energy. Like it's just hard to resist that. That's a teammate that you want to play for and with. And so I think that's what she brings to the team is like that energy and vivaciousness and like aggressiveness. Like she is the embodiment of a great teammate when it comes to the fire, I would say. And I can't wait to keep watching her do her thing, playing professionally too, because I know that's what she's going to bring to every team that she's on.
Now, Will Persiani, a student, creative intern, he journeyed out to you guys' NCAA tournament in Baylor and Nebraska. And he also did the opening hype video for your last season here.
I love our hype video. It's so sick. Will is great. He is such a hard worker and like he has such great relationships with all the girls on the team. Like we love when he gets to travel with us because we know the work he's going to put in and like the content that he's going to create is so great. Like I mean, everything is always to a Drake song, which is kind of funny, but he has like great taste in music to pick like the hype video stuff. And I don't know, he gets all the good angles. I don't know. He's really good at his job. I don't know like, all the ins and outs of what he does, but he's great at it.
What's been the biggest takeaway from your UD volleyball career here?
Oh, biggest takeaway. We always say this, but like the days are long, but the years are short. So I've been in this program for 5 seasons now, and I remember my freshman season like it was yesterday, but it also feels like it was ages ago. It's a weird time thing. I don't understand it. But yeah, I would just say like it all goes by so fast, and like it's made me super grateful for the relationships I've made and having the opportunity to do this. Like it's not, the percent of high school athletes that get to do this in college is like so small. And so I feel so lucky that I got to be a part of that and have such a unique experience and have it here. So I think, yeah, that's just my biggest takeaway is that time flies when you're having fun.
What makes UD volleyball so special?
Oh, so many things. But I would boil it down to the culture here and like the relationships you make. This next May, I'm going to be in one wedding, and I'm invited to 2 others of teammates that I played with. And I think that just speaks for itself, is like these girls that you play with every day and sweat, bleed, cry, all those things, like they're always there for you, and they're going to be people that are in your wedding. So it's just that relationship piece and the culture.
Who do you credit for supporting you in your volleyball journey?
Oh, so many people, but probably my parents, because like I said, I played softball and thought that was my sport, but I was so not great at batting, so it was never going to be my sport. And so when I got into volleyball, there were a lot of nights where I came home crying, and I was like, I just don't know if I'm like an athlete. I don't know if that's part, like, I know I'm tall, but like, I didn't think that was part of my identity. And them giving me the opportunity to play for a really elite club every season and play at qualifiers and get recruited and travel all over the country to like visit these schools and have my pick of what I wanted to do with my future is something I'll never be able to repay them for, but I'm so grateful that I have them in my corner.
And what do you think your future looks like as you wrap up your academic year?
That is the question, isn't it? Yeah. So I started doing like some freelance writing stuff. And like I said, I was a communications journalism major. I love all this. I love getting to talk to people like you. And that's what I want to do with my future, is continue to interview people, have these conversations, write stories. I've been writing for UD Magazine since April and finishing up a really cool sports story that I'm so excited to publish. But it's just stuff like that. Like I love to write. And I think telling people stories like this is such a cool thing to do, because you wouldn't know all this stuff about me, and I wouldn't know anything about you if it wasn't for this. And so, yeah, just continuing to hopefully tell people stories in the future, whatever job that looks like in any capacity, that's kind of the goal.
Well, I thank you so much for joining me here today on Flyer Overtime.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about Alayna, or if you want to learn more stories from Flyer athletes, links on screen.